we applied for first of all we applied for the extension which was granted, but now we have applied for a landed program so that we can see how we stay on, because we are thinking also about the little boy who was born here. That Canada, I think, from where I've been, has one of the best policies that guide children. Children have more care in Canada than I think anywhere else have been. Canada really takes care of children, and it's something that it was anticipated. And we didn't anticipate that. But the moment that our son was born, that's when things started unfolding. Like, oh, so this could also be there for the baby. Oh, this could also be there for the baby, and you can actually see why it's so good to be around here and have children around Canada. It's really an amazing thing to do. So that's how I got in Canada. But then I didn't stop out there, but I started now learning more of the community programs. Which ones should I be I'm interested in, and being part of the community helps open doors and learning about the place more than just staying home and waiting for the time that I work. So I became a member of community race relations. I was approached to say they needed people that to look at divergence in terms of the community. So I was approached, and then I was elected to the board for community race relations here in Peterborough. I sit on the board, and then I also became a member of the Partnership Council when it just started. Because even when it was just being constructed, I was there. We had a bit of meeting in terms of setting up the Partnership Council. So I became part of the Partnership Council. And then I told Helen that I needed to be part of this and also help my other colleagues that are new to Canada, because at times you come with a certain mindset, and when you get here, things don't really happen the way you want to happen, things to happen. And then it is a place that helps change your perspective about certain things. And at times it helps you move out of your comfort zone and then start afresh, look at life from a different perspective, and you take up that road. And finally, if you stick on the road and you don't get frustrated, then I think you can do better in Canada. That's what I saw. Yeah. So this is now the second year from the time that I came, and things seem to be just going on. On average, I wouldn't say that what is here in the kind of opportunities that I have here are better than what I have in Zambia. No, but the kind of peace in terms of mind and myself is much better here than back in home. So it's a question of just you're on the borderline. You're really not so much unless probably if a few things change, then I can see myself.
Maybe if you allow me, you may ask one question.
Please go ahead.
When you did come here, first week, what did you impress you the most about Canada? Positive quality, which really impressed you. Do you remember anything along that line?
Yeah, when I came in, when I came yeah, no, the first thing that the problem that I found was the first time I came here, it was 16th January. Now, I was living in Zambia, it was plus 32. Plus 32 degrees. And then that night when I was landing at Toronto International Airport, Peterborough International Airport, it was minus 32. So I didn't have a perception of this, cold. It was not in the head, but when we were landing, I could see everything covered in snow, like, oh, these are buildings, but really, you saw there are buildings, and you say, okay, this is the city.
First time you saw the snow?
Yes.
And today he came without a jacket.
That was the first time I was seeing snow. So, and that was the first time I was going in a minus temperature. There was every other time that I visited, even Europe or China, it was in summer, So I would go back home without actually seeing the winter in Northern Europe and whatever. So I was always in those places when it's warm. So I would, it was freezing. So nothing of that. You don't actually put it in context of how cold it would be. So I land, and then everything's air conditioned. I get out of the plane. I'm walking through the airport. Everything is okay, and I can see people in thick clothes and all that. What the hell? How can you be in that thick? So I was thinking until now. I walked out, opened the door, out, boom. I went back inside. And then it seems like I had a few people that were looking at me because of the way I was dressed. My wife told me when I was in England, en route to here, I was at Heathrow Airport. So she called, and I called her, and then she said, "Oh, don't forget to get a good toque and the gloves. Get yourself a pair of gloves." So I said, "Oh, I'll get that." So I forgot about it. Now, when the first boarding call came, then I realized I needed to get that. So I quickly rushed just, anything I found, cotton wool gloves, so got that, and they took that like you usually put on in summer here. So that is what I had on. So coming out was like, boom. And then I went back and started thinking that, wow, is this how it feels? Is this what they mean when they say minus? Because the 50 meters that I walked from, even when I had a coat on, the 50 meters that I walked from the door to the car, I don't know. It was like a mile. I felt the cold that had never been, that I didn't think of. And then I was so scared now. So I came here. I just came to, because, that was like 5, we came about 2:30. So I was starting from Toronto about 4:30. So it was a bit slightly dark. So we drove all the way. I was quiet. Went home. I stayed indoors for 2 weeks.
So weather was
That was a good idea.
Yes, the weather was one thing that really took me off by.
Okay. Sister question.
The people.
Sister question is the same question really.
Yeah.
Many of the immigrants, when they come from, doesn't matter what country, European, Asians, or any country, most of the immigrants, they feel kind of something lacking, something they miss quite a lot about their own country. And different people have raised different issues. That's what they miss about their country. What do you miss about Zambia? The thing which really...
Other than the heat.
Other than the heat, it is the...
I mean, that's Andre who said
Yes,
that,
yes.
not me.
Exactly, I know that. It is there is one aspect to the Zambian people that I miss, and that is the extended family system that I miss. That one I do miss it, because in Zambia you have your brothers, you have your cousins, you have your uncles, and then it's like one big family. So you cannot just be so much focused on your immediate brothers and sisters and that. But the focus is much more on a broader perspective in terms of the extended family system. Because then it compensates in terms of if you have a problem. For example, we have a baby here. If that baby was born in Zambia, he is a baby for everybody. You know, any one of my sisters would come pick him up and then they go. You don't really feel the heat of, you know, being 24/7 around your son or your daughter. Yeah, the care is more of, you know, on a broader. You have a lot of people looking after.
He's the baby of the village.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also goes with control. If my son, for example, is misbehaving somewhere, and they happen to be a person who knows me, probably my friend, or probably people that are in the community that know me, they can actually discipline my child, and I would not side with my child. It's traditionally not, you know, acceptable that when there is a small person that is being corrected by another big person, and then the other person should side with the small person, because we have a presumption that all the old were once young, but the young have never been old. So,
I fully understand what you're saying. Yeah.
so the old have both experiences of being what? Young and being what? Old. So when they see something wrong, it's because they've seen, you know, it happen in the past. So it's usually for the best of, you know, the kid. It's usually you don't do hands off, which I saw here. That is one thing that me, like, you know, you would find small ones or whatever, you know, they would just probably working in house that more, you know, you have probably dad, a daughter, or what, and then he is just the son who just yells something, you know, bad at the dad or at the mom or someone else who pass. Oh, I was like shocked, like, you know, really, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that aspect of respect.
So here we have a nuclear family.
Yes.
And as a neighbor, as a friend, as somebody, you cannot tell the child what to do. If you do, sometimes you have to answer the police because 911 is so available. But over there, people will definitely discipline the child if neighbors, people, not only relatives but acquaintances, they will see you doing it. And sometimes even the people, those who are not related anyway, they are stranger in a way, but they will put the child in place because child is not supposed to do that. So they will, and if news reach your father and somebody hit you because you were not behaving well, he will thank the guy.
And probably hit you again. So you are scared of misbehaving because the other person will punish you, but again, if you report to that, then you are punished again. So that way there is a bit of, you know, respect for
Well, the difference is that I don't think it's even true for all Western societies. I grew up in Germany, and at the time I grew up, older people also took their rights and disciplined me, and it was often very unpleasant. I didn't like it. So here, the respect is for the individual, and kids are individuals. So the individual orientation that is very strong, and the respect for individual rights is the unique thing in Anglo culture.
Yes, yeah, absolutely right.
And the times have changed. That's what you're pointing out. Times have changed. Am I correct? That's what it is. Like when you were a child,
Yeah, in Germany it's changed too.
And,
But you
There's
think
more
Canada,
rights.
it was like that before. If we're
Probably
talking like
than
many
you
years
had
ago
as a
when it's
child.
happened in Germany, it's happened here too
Children
because
today.
they know parents.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't like it because, like, in some cases, kids, they behave in that way because they don't understand their actions. And,
Yeah.
you know, they are not adults.
Yeah,
And they don't know, still they are like, you know.
to echo, what Andre said, here it's the respect of the individual. Here, because every person is, no matter how small, the little person of life, it's the respect that they are got, and it's across the board. And that is the only thing that I have a problem is to what extent should that respect go? Should it go to the extent that even when misbehavior is done, how is it corrected? How does it impact other people? Because what I've seen here is like people, they reward for being bad. The situation that I'll give you is here a person will be put in police custody or in prison. Then he has full access to the newspaper, he's watching TV, he's watching, And then some people are working, like just when he's working and he's paying tax, and then, so, and then someone there is misbehaving but benefiting from that, and that's the difference. Because for us, it's like when it's wrong, you feel the pinch, you get the consequences for action. But here, the consequences, it's also different because here it's just the individual freedom that a person doesn't want to lose, like, restriction, like you can't go there, you can't do this. That is, what people are scared of. It's individual restriction, is what. But there you feel it because you feel it from the individual restriction point of view, and you feel it in terms of the penalty that you pay for that.
There has been, just to pick up on some of the things you said, there has been an increasing tendency. So I would speak to when I was young. I would say that my extended family had a more similar experience to your. So my growing up in that family was more like your experience, where my family members sort of collectively raise their children and so on and so forth. But that is something that today I would not have the same influence over my sister's children that my aunts had over me. So it has been a sort of societal shift. As we've done that, I think what you said, we have moved a lot of our accountability structures away from community and family to institutions.
Yeah.
So there's this a good example of grief counselors. So these are people who professionally counsel people when they've lost someone. That used to, traditionally for a very long time, was something that a community and a family would do, right? Now communities and families by and large have lost most of their skills to do that because we rely on sort of an outside structure. It's the same with the prisons, right? So we sort of, instead of holding a community person accountable within the community, which not only is good, is good for them on many reasons, on many levels, because they can learn to reintegrate and be just sort of like marginalize them in a prison system is not necessarily the best thing for them or for us, but it is something that we've seen this increasing tendency towards. So,
to make a point on that, I think the community in the Indian subcontinent is practically the same, India, Pakistan, and in one word I put onus on nuclear family versus, I use the term myself, overextended family. Because not only extended family, uncle, brother, nephew, nieces, it's so overextended in a sense that everybody who is my father's age is my uncle. Anybody who is my mother's age is my aunt. And they have the right to discipline me or to rebuke me or even to hit me, but not too hard, a little bit, and put me in line. And the family migrated from Pakistan, comes to Toronto. Son is mischievous, he did something wrong, and the father hit him. He very calmly got up, went inside, dialed 911. The family was eating, and here comes the police at the door, arrested the father. Child gave the report, and they were taken to. Then mother rebuked the son. That, what the hell have you done? He is the bread and butter. I don't know whether she liked him that much or not. Now we will starve you to death. So the child subdued and took the report back. So the police said, all right, you sort it out, and father was trying to maybe discipline you, no, please go home. But the father kept it in mind, what he did to him. 2 years, 3 years later, summertime, schools are off, he said, we are going to go to Pakistan. So everybody goes to Pakistan. They get on the plane, PIA, Pakistan International Line, and the father, without any reason, slapped him real hard, one, and you could see the 5 fingers here, and gave another one from the other side. So the kid is embroiled, and he sees the first policeman in the airport. He calls him, he said, my father hit me. He said, so what? He said, father, he must have hit you for your benefit only. So he said, I want to press charges. So he said, what are you talking about? I'm a police constable. My mother hit me before this morning, when I was coming for duty. What are you talking about? So the police wouldn't take you seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why at times when we have newcomers like that, this is why for a forum like this one is very important, because then you tend to share expectations, because a person may not really know how to fit in. Because they have to leave their comfort zone in terms of such kind of, beliefs, such kind of mindset. Like, okay, my father should do this, my mother should do this. I have had, an encounter here with one of my friends from Africa. He comes to Canada, and then the daughter starts dating a Canadian guy. Now the Canadian guy is a white guy, goes in the house straight away. Him, it's not a big deal. He gets in the house and they're seated, they're chatting, they're what? This man says, what's this? What is this? So he gets upset. Get out, everybody. Chases the daughter and the man. It's taboo. It's taboo to show public affection.
Cultural difference.
Yes, it's a taboo to show public affection for a person that you're dating in the presence of the father. You can't do that. And then this person has just come in 3-4 months ago. So, the next thing, the wife is on the phone, is calling me. Hey, can you come over here, please? We're in trouble. So I quickly drive to the place, and find him so mad. How can it happen? It's like he's roasted, he's banging doors, and it cannot happen in my house. So I started laughing the moment I got there. What are you laughing? You need to. I said, okay, come on, welcome to Canada. Now get in my car. Get in my car. And
so there's no dating system in.
No, there is, but you cannot show public affection to the daughter in presence of the father.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say she's my girlfriend and this is my dad. There's no way, and this is the dad. There's no way I'm going to start showing public affection in his presence.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can show our public affection somewhere else. Where it's not there. That's okay.
And that's more fun too.
Yes.
Well, that's a universal.
That's it. But there is now this guy is shocked because he thinks like, okay, I'm supposed to be introduced to the dad just like you.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way. So I now take the dad, put him in my car, and then drive off to have a cup of coffee and Tim Horton and Nasdaq, and then I start telling him, that this is a different country with a different set of rules and regulations and with different expectations. You must, first of all, leave your comfort zone.
And they evolved, Canadian evolved gradually
Yes.
over 50 to 75 years to this
Yes, to this system.
Yeah.
So
Originally, they were also in the same category,
exactly.
but maybe not to that extent.
Yeah.
That's what we have to understand. Yeah.
So we talked about it. Then I knew it was not easy for him to deal with. So I had to deal with a person who has been here longer than him. So because him would easily understand where this person is coming from. So when I called in the gentleman and the daughter, I said, you see what you can easily create. Now, it's a question of time. Because the moment he talks to people, the moment he gets now interaction with the social system, he gets friends, gets this, then he's seeing more, Then he starts losing out, his mindset in terms of, he starts changing the position, like you said, Muhammad, change the position to say, oh, this is a different society. And this is not illegal. It's not like because it's their fault that you perceive it that way. It's a system that has been there for over a period of time and it has evolved to what it is. And you cannot change it. You just have to fit in it.
Yes.
And it's a common thing for us to think of culture as something that it doesn't change. That culture is like this thing that has defined boundaries, and it's not like that at all. It's culture is something that changes, and it constantly
evolution.
Yeah, absolutely, it evolves, and that's probably true of all culture. I would say it is true of all cultures. It may be that process happens faster in a new place like Canada that doesn't have an ancient, Indigenous peoples excluded, but the sort of people who've come here who weren't really from here had to create something, and it's a relatively short period of time. We've had people come from more places and different places, and all of that sort of mixing together has constantly, and it's a process that's still going on. Yeah. And it would look very different in 50 years than it does now. So
and even the change is more rapid in the Canadian and American society than in Europe. Because I had to, my favorite geography, by the way, it happens because the geographic space. When the people buy a house here, when a person buy a house in my country, and if you do go and dig the history, my great grandfather bought the house. The people are still there. But here, if a family stays 4 or 5 years in the same house, it's an exception. People move so rapidly. You look wherever you're living, you look at the neighbors, what transpired within the last 10 years. So this geographic vastness include this mobility on a family level as well. And so people also don't care much, and they may not have much affinity for the neighbors because they're going to have a new set of neighbors next year anyway. Yeah. I can see this related with change and vastness of the country.
Apparently, I think it's very true that here, society, the way the dynamics that play around here in the society are so fast, so rapid. Things change overnight and all that. And then there's a lot of transplants, probably I should say from the American system. Whatever is in America, usually find that in Canada is the same. And whatever America is doing, Canada is following suit and all that. Although it's not the perception outward, outside North America. The Canadians and the Americans are perceived differently. Because I think the Canadians are perceived to be more of, welcoming, more open. It's the, you have a perception of an open kind of system in Canada. That's the perception that you have. And that perception, like for my country, is created so early because when you get to high school, you have to learn about Canada. You have a compulsory question in high school geography that will talk about Canada. So I learned the whole year about Canada, learning about Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia,
There are a lot of similarities
Brad and all that.
between Canada and States. There are a lot of similarities.
Yeah, but
the Canadians go out of way to prove that we are much more different.
yes,
We are not Americans. So they put a lot of emphasis. They seek
yes.
actively what are the differences.
What do you mean they? I thought you were Canadian.
No, he's speaking from.
You've been here for 50 years.
Longer than
I like that.
No, but I